listening to Skywave Radio. This is Digging the Dirt, the Allotment Show with Russ and Jake. And welcome to Digging the Dirt, the Allotment Show with Russ and Jake. And hi there, Jake.
I'm here loud and clear. Welcome back, everybody.
It's been a month since our last show. What have you been up to down on the allotment, down in Derbyshire?
Busy time. Well, obviously sowing a lot of seeds, and I've just taken on another half a plot, so I've been levelling the ground there because it's a bit like the cairngorms, or was until I've levelled it.
Is that Mole Hill I've seen on
Yes, it's appropriately named.
Yes, is it? So you've been flattening that, have you, or is it just flat on the top?
Yeah, I've been digging it over and levelling the ground. Yeah, so it's quite a lot of work there, and but also doing things like preparing for next month as well, making sure the beds are ready for the tender veg and putting up the bean poles. What have you been up to, Russ?
Well, much the same. I mean, it's dead busy, isn't it?
Yes.
At the moment, which is great. It's my favourite time, actually, because it's all a bit manic, isn't it? Sowing seeds, and there's seeds going in the propagator, seedlings coming out, and all that rotation there. So that's going well at the moment. I had a bit of a disaster with some cucumbers. I lost a couple of cucumbers in the greenhouse there. We had a couple of frosts. I don't know if you got them down with you in Derbyshire, but 2 nights we had some pretty hard frosts just out of the blue. They were dead lovely days, but clear skies at night, and the temperature plummeted really, and I lost a few, so I had to start them off again. But,
I lost a tray of cabbages as well because of those frosts. And so I've resown.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Well, it just happens. You used to get on with it, really, don't you? And
exactly.
And the problem is during the day. I mean, today is a good example. It's baking hot there in the greenhouse, so I'm kind of trying to protect stuff with a bit of fleece over so it doesn't get burnt and things like that. But then it's going to be pretty cold at night as well. Yeah. So it's a juggling act as always.
Yeah, fleece is a very valuable asset to us, isn't it?
It is. In the greenhouse, give them a bit of shading, and when we're sort of hardening off, when they come out, which I think we'll be talking about that a little bit later in the show. So I've got I put my peas in, my French beans. I'm growing a variety called Blue Lake.
Oh, fantastic!
And some sugar.
I think I've sown Blue Lake this year.
Have you? Yeah, I love them. About 3 years I've been growing those, and they're terrific and lovely flavour. And sugar snap peas as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, which I just love sugar snap peas. Dwarf French beans as well. So they're all in. I'm waiting for those just to germinate at the moment. Right. We got the garlic is in. I think I just put those in, I think, in the last programme. Onions, they're establishing well as well, and seedlings coming up. The old broad beans, they're hardening off as we speak.
I got my broad beans in now.
Yes.
So have you put your potatoes in yet, Russ?
I have. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, me too.
So they've been in just about 3 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So a little bit late, I think, in some people's books, but I've gone for some second earlies, Maris Pia, which I grew last year.
Very good.
And they're great. Really, I love those. So I don't tend to grow sort of late varieties, either earlies or second earlies. No particular reason, really. But I think later on, we do get, I think with most people, a bit of a problem with blight now.
Yes, that's why my main crops are Sharpamira potatoes, because they're blight resistant.
Right. Yes.
I did give up doing main crops because of the blight.
Yeah, it's same with me, really. So I prefer the earlier varieties there. So it's all happening. The courgettes are growing nicely. They're still in the greenhouse. Haven't planted those out just yet. The chilies are up, and the sweet peppers, and the salad, of course.
Yeah.
And I treated myself to a couple of red currant plants, and
excellent.
they're in leaf, and it looks like they're establishing quite well. So I'm hopeful for a bit of red currant. I don't know what they'll do the first year. I don't know, but might get a bit of a crop off them.
Yeah.
So you've tried some of my little cucumbers, the Beth.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to them. Yeah. I planted 8, and then I had a bit of a mishap where I dropped a propagator lid and decapitated 2 of the plants. Oh, no. But the other 6 will be fine.
I've done stuff like that before. Before work, I've gone down to the green, and I've told you I'm sort of 30 paces from my allotment here.
Yes.
And I've gone down towards them and opened the doors and everything before I head off for work at some unearthly hour of the morning. and I've caught a tray or something, on the staging and knocked them over and...
Oh, so easily done.
And just rush in and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And now, a little bird tells me, Jake, you've had a bit of a problem with your labelling up.
Yeah, I wonder where you heard that from. Yes, to try and cut down my use of plastic, I decided I would use some wooden spatulas as labels. And unfortunately, I suppose village idiot is the right term for me. I didn't use an indelible pen. And the capillary reaction of the water going up the wooden spatulas has rubbed off all the labels. So I've got about a dozen trays of vegetables and flower seeds. And until for quite a while now, I won't know what each one is.
Oh no! Yeah, so you're trying to cut down on your plastic use.
Yeah.
Is that the thing there? Yeah, that's I mean, it's a good idea, but you learn from your mistakes, don't you? That's the thing.
Exactly, yeah. I think what I'll do in future is just reuse, because you can clean off your old plastic labels and just reuse them.
Exactly.
They'll last forever.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. Just rub them off and start again. But so you've got a bit of a wait in time, and I guess you can't remember what on earth they are.
No.
You don't do a map or anything of where everything is.
If I was sensible, I would have, but no, I didn't.
No. Well, this is how we learn.
Yeah.
But the thought was there, Jake. That's the thing, isn't it, really?
At least my polytunnel's still there anyway.
Well, absolutely, yeah. So that's all up and running?
Yeah. It's not blowing across the Pennines at the moment.
No. I did look out for it. I was over that way last weekend.
Right,
and,
yes.
I was looking for bits of your polytunnel, but I couldn't see. They're long gone, Jake. It's not coming back, is it?
No. I've got to give up on that one.
Okay, so it's been a busy old time then. I pruned the gooseberries as well, so they're looking good. So a nice goblet shape there. I've got 3 gooseberry bushes there.
Lovely.
And I'm hopeful for those this year. I usually get a good crop of those, and I love gooseberries, I've got to tell you. And blueberries as well are in flower.
Yeah.
So do you grow blueberries at all?
I tried before I knew that they need to be in ericaceous soil, so I've failed miserably there. But I will give it a go again.
Yes.
But I have been sowing a lot of flower seeds.
Okay. Are they for your allotment, or do you are they for your home garden?
Both, really, because I like the old-fashioned cottage garden look, so I quite often plant flowers amongst vegetables, and also companion planting as well.
Yes, yeah, that's a good idea. I grow a lot of cosmos and asters on the allotment.
I love cosmos.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they? And a real cottage garden kind of favourite, aren't they? There and
definitely.
If I got a few over, I'll take them off the allotment and bring them down home here and put them in the garden. So it's great to set them off there. And I tell you what, I did actually about 3 years ago. I'm not a great rose lover. I don't know about yourself, but I saw on a television program. In fact, it was Christine Walkden. I think she was on the One Show, just saying how easy it is to grow cuttings of roses.
Yes, I've done that a few times.
Yeah.
Some of the climbers at the back of my garden I grew from cuttings. Yeah. Carry on, Russ. Sorry.
I've done exactly the same same thing. And how easy are they to grow? I really could not believe it. Oh,
definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a little bed in the allotment there just for rose cuttings. And I bring them up, to the garden at home here when they're established. But a great little tip for people to do it, just to and save a lot of money actually as well. Yeah. So I'm sounding like a Yorkshireman here, Jake.
Well done, you.
But there you go. But no, and they're some lovely varieties and some climbers as well, and just so easy to grow. So that was a great tip from Christine. There.
So, and some of the roses will flower for months and months and months if you get the continuous flowering varieties.
It is, and in the right position, anything as well. But you can move them around, can't you? That's the thing. If it doesn't work in one position, don't give up.
Roses for the right places,
exactly.
I've got 2 Zephyrin Druins at the very back of the garden on a north-facing wall, and they absolutely love it there. It's superb.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I'm always moving stuff about if it doesn't quite, hit the button on the first time, really. So I think time for a bit of news then.
Right.
Jake, what's been happening in the last month or so? And I don't know whether you saw this one in the newspaper, but Terry Walton, better known as Terry on the Allotment on the Jeremy Vine show.
Yeah, famous guy.
And he had a bit of trouble. I don't know whether did you see this, Jake, at all?
Well, when I did hear very recently, I was gutted for him.
I know, because it was I think it was something like 72 onion plants he had in his greenhouse.
Goodness me.
Loads of tomato plants, just getting established, about 4 or 5 inches high.
Yeah.
And again, it's when we had those frosts last month we're talking about now. Mm-hmm. And he put his paraffin heater on in his greenhouse. He put the double burners on as well, thinking it was going to be quite a hard frost, which it was. Walked away from his greenhouse, and then 25 minutes he had a knock at the door from his neighbour that overlooks his plot to say his greenhouse was all aglow. It was bright orange.
Goodness me. Oh, no.
And it just burnt to the ground in about half an hour. He lost absolutely everything. So
that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Do you use anything like that, Jake, in greenhouse?
I don't know. I usually grow seeds in the back bedroom and then start to harden them off in the conservatory and then move them to the greenhouse for the last bit of hardening off before going outside.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking at some point to try a bit of heating in the greenhouse, but I just didn't like, because paraffin heaters from my youth, when I was a kid at home, we had paraffin heaters in the house occasionally, and it was just that smell. I can still remember that smell, and it gives off a bit of condensation as well, if I remember.
Right.
And I don't know, it just sort of put me off about stuff like that in the greenhouse.
I understand. So
I've never done that. So poor old Terry, he lost them linking lots there. But I think the local community there have sorted him out with some spare plants, and he's got a new greenhouse. And I think, by now he must be back up and running. So
that's good news. And it says a lot about gardeners as well. There's a real community spirit between allotmenteers and gardeners.
Oh, there is. Yeah, and your allotment down there in Derbyshire won't be any different to anywhere else, where you share all sorts of things, don't you? Really, plants and tools and all sorts of stuff there. But
definitely,
the problem that I've got, I think I mentioned last time, some fantastic rhurbarb that somebody gave me some crowns of a few years back. But I don't know the variety at all. And that's the only downside, isn't it? You don't know what you've got, but it's all about swapping and swapping notes, isn't it? And stories and everything else, really.
Exactly, and learning new things and trying new things.
Yes. Now, Jake, I'm glad you said that. Trying new things. Now, how about this? May the 4th. Now, I know, are you a Star Wars fan? I don't know.
I am, yes.
I'm a bit of a
geek.
I wasn't quite sure. So, as well as celebrating Star Wars on May the 4th, and I know you're going to say it, Jake, so get it out the way now.
May the 4th be with you, Russ.
There you go. We've always got to slip these things in, you know that. But May the 4th is also World Naked Gardening Day. Now, I wasn't sure whether you were fully aware of this, Jake.
I knew it was coming up sometime, but with my hair colour, I can stand about 20 minutes.
Well, you say
There's certain
I'm
places.
a redhead, you see. So
Yeah,
we got to take it careful, haven't we?
absolutely. Yeah,
We
there's
won't go
certainly
into anything any further than that. So,
no.
but if anybody out there wants
Yeah.
to participate, it's World Naked Gardening Day. It's been going since 2005.
Wow.
Would you believe? I believe in the early days it was held in the autumn, but it's a bit nippy occasionally.
Yeah.
So they brought it forward in recent years.
I can understand why they've done that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, they brought it forward in recent years to May. So, I hope it's a good day for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't think I'll be fully participating myself.
Me neither. Yeah, I might have my shorts on.
Yeah, I might have my shorts. I might take my t-shirt off if no one's looking.
Yeah.
But that's probably as far, I think, as it's going. And I certainly won't be doing any pruning whilst that's on. But I think the main news we've got to talk about, Jake, is Jim McCall from our beloved Beechgrove garden. And he made a very sad announcement, I thought, anyway, on the show. The first show, wasn't it? On the 18th of April.
Yes, yeah. After 40 years, he's finally handing over the trowel.
That's right. I mean, you can't believe, can you? I mean, Jim's, 83, I think, isn't he?
Yeah.
He said.
Yeah.
And, but he's inspired so many people, hasn't he, over the years?
Oh, definitely. He's a gardening hero.
He is, yeah. And, he's going to be sadly missed. And I think Easter Monday on BBC Scotland, there was a tribute show to Jim and to Beechgrove as well.
Yeah.
And,
so as this show airs, people will still be able to catch it on iPlayer.
Yes, they can get it on that, of course, or catch up for a week or so later, isn't it? So, so it was the Beechgrove story, and that was on Easter Monday. And so have a little search for that there, and you'll see how it all started. And it was fascinating, actually, that Beechgrove Garden and Jim's involvement started from a radio show. I wasn't sure if you were aware of that, Jake.
No, I wasn't. No, I knew that it started 40 years ago, over 40 years ago, in 1978.
Yeah. No, it started, there was a Radio Scotland series called The Scottish Garden. And I think Jim took part in that. And then he took the lead on the show at their Aberdeen studios, wasn't it? I think it was just a plot of land, wasn't it, at the back of the studios?
They started it from scratch.
Exactly, yeah. But they've got a fantastic... there was some aerial shots, wasn't there, of Beechgrove Garden on the first programme there. Yeah. And it's vast, isn't it, really? I don't think you realise how...
It's enormous, yeah.
It is.
It is. I didn't realise as well that Carol Baxter's been on the programme for 36 years.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. And, they're a great bunch. I don't know whether Chris Beardshaw is going to carry on. He certainly wasn't on the first programme, was he, there?
Well, I did notice on the news that Chris Beardshaw had started a new series for BBC Northern Ireland. I can't remember the name of the show now, but if people Google Chris Beard's new show on BBC Northern Ireland, I'm sure people will be able to get that on BBC iPlayer as well.
Fine. Oh, that's great. That's great. So, very sad news, but I think, Jim's 83, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's been gardening for his whole life. I think it was in the family, wasn't it? I think his father was a gardener, I seem to remember, but he's got a condition called neuropathy, if I'm right. So
it affects the grip, doesn't it?
Yeah, so problems with his grip and things like that. And I think he said he doesn't want to carry on when he can't do things properly,
That's understandable.
Yeah, but he's stopping at the peak, and he's not going to stop gardening, is he? Let's face it.
No, so, he's got a lovely garden at home. Yeah,
so we wish Jim all the very, very best in his long retirement, and don't hang up the trowel just yet, Jim. You keep on going in the privacy of your own home, and Beechgrove, of course, will carry on. So we'll be talking about Beechgrove in a little while. So we'll just remind our listeners, you're listening to Skywave Radio. This is Dig in the Dirt, the Allotment Show with Russ and Jake. And, talking of TV, it's what's on the TV, what's been on, what's coming up over the next couple of weeks or so. And Gardener's World, of course, is back with us, Jake.
Full hour.
I'm back for the full hour. How about that? So that's great just to sit down, isn't it, on a Friday night and just chill out
wonderful.
there.
Yeah.
And Rachel was back on that show. Rachel
so good to have her back.
Yeah, a lovely lady, I think, is Rachel. So she's had cancer, of course, and been working through a cancer treatment. And she was talking on that first show about how gardening really helped her through it, didn't it, really?
Yes, it did. Yeah, very therapeutic.
I think it is, yeah. And she was talking about, when you're sowing seeds,
yeah,
it's you're not thinking about anything else, are you?
No,
you're just in that moment
focused, there. Yeah.
So everything in the past, you're not thinking about all the things coming up in the future. You're not bothered with. It's just the here and now, isn't it? When you're gardening, whatever you're doing,
absolutely.
There. So that was great to see her back there, and Joe as well.
Yeah, Joe back again. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got a little series within Gardener's World, I think, looking at community gardens, I believe. And he started off with a little allotment project, funny enough, in Birmingham. I don't know if you saw that, Jake.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I think it'll be a really excellent series.
Yeah. So all these kids with learning difficulties, I think, was certainly the first one there. So getting to grips with gardening, planting a few seeds. Be interesting to see if they eat the veg.
Definitely, yeah. Well, as you know, I myself teach horticulture to young people with special needs.
Yes,
so I think it's really important that the nation's head gardeners kind of raise awareness of the benefits of it.
Yeah. So, do you have a garden at the school then, Jake? How does that work?
Yes, we do. We have 4 rather enormous raised beds and a polytunnel that hasn't flown away, thank goodness. And we also grow plants and for all around the grounds of the school, and plant bulbs in autumn, and just keep the place looking really nice for everybody.
And you grow veg as well?
Yes, we do. Yeah, so we've got, the 4 enormous beds give us a good rotation there.
Oh, fantastic! And do they prepare the veg afterwards? And do you have sort of cook-ups and things like that?
Yeah, we certainly will be doing when things start as well, because I teach food technology as well. So we will be cooking up the food, having taster sessions. I'm sure some of them won't want to taste the food, but some of them will be really eager to have a try.
Yeah, and at least they know, don't they, exactly where the food comes from.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't just come from a plastic packet at the supermarket.
And joking apart, some kids today, they really don't know what's involved in the food chain. Do they?
Dead right, yeah.
And I think if you grow it like that and nurture it, and then it's got to be a great thing. And the flavour, of course, is something else, isn't it?
Absolutely. And on the last programme, you mentioned that you work in the food industry, so it was something that inspired you to start growing, wasn't it?
Well, it is, really. I mean, I work in so many food processing factories.
Yes.
And it's convenient food, really, which we all have from time to time. You can't get away from it.
Yeah.
But if some people saw how some food is prepared and how it's processed and what it goes through, they might have a bit of a surprise in store, really, of how it's all manufactured and how far it travels, literally around the world these days. And it's one of the reasons why I like to grow my own. I know what it's from. I know what's happened to it, and I just grow the produce that I love the taste of, and that's about it, really. And I like to try something a little bit different each year, just to broaden your horizons.
Absolutely. It spices things up, and it keeps your interest as well, doesn't it?
It does. And you have a few disasters on the way. We know that, don't you?
Definitely.
It's all a bit of fun. I grew some aubergines a couple of years ago. I haven't grown them this year, but
no.
I wasn't quite sure. And they look beautiful, and those lovely dark skins to them there. And it was a shame. But but I was a bit stumped with what to do with them, actually.
Right.
You know, I like cooking. I'm not a great cook. And
moussaka.
Yeah, some classics like that, really, I suppose. And so we give everything a bit of a whirl.
Oh, another thing that it's good for is cutting really thick slices.
Yes.
Marinate it and then cook it on the barbecue.
Ah, right.
I do that with courgettes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yeah, and get all the charred lines on them and all that stuff, and beautiful
Delicious
stuff. Beautiful. So that's Gardener's World. So that's back on, and I think it's back on to the hour-long programs, isn't it now? For
at last,
certainly for the summer. Anyway, so that's a welcome return, as we said there. And Beechgrove, of course, that started back on the 18th of April. Thursdays, if people can pick up that on your satellite dishes or whatever it may be. So that starts on BBC Scotland, 8 p.m. on Thursdays. And it's repeated on BBC Two on Sundays at 12:30. So just at lunchtime there on Sundays. And I know you pick it up on iPlayer, don't you, Jake?
Yeah, I do. It means that kind of if I'm out during the day gardening, then I can watch it in the evening when it's time to relax.
Yeah, and watch it with a pint, which I know you enjoy, Jake, or a glass of wine or something like that. So
you're a man of taste.
It is, but it is. It's a nice, relaxing show, isn't
Definitely.
it? Really, a real good,
wonderful
mix.
Yeah,
and they've got a new presenter there as well, Kirsty Wilson, who
I thought she was excellent.
Really good, yeah. And she works at the Edinburgh Botanical Gardens, I believe.
Yeah, so that'll link to something later on that we're talking about, kind of growing plants indoors. Yeah,
I think you got a question about that, didn't you, there?
Yeah, and I think because a lot of people these days live in cities and don't have outdoor growing space, it's a real added dimension to the programme, which keeps it real for a lot of people.
That's right. Yeah, and I think her first little piece on the show was somebody exactly in that position, wasn't it? It was a young girl that had a small house, wasn't it? Not much outside space, or it might have been a flat, I don't know, an apartment. And she did some great things, didn't she? With
absolutely, it looked great.
And actually, they're coming back, aren't they? In indoor planting now. So so that was good. So it'd be good to see how Kirsty gets on there. And we mentioned before, we're not sure if Chris Beardshaw is still with the show or not.
Yeah, we'll find out soon, I think.
We shall find out, yeah. So that's Beechgrove Gardens, Thursday, BBC Scotland, 8 p.m. on the iPlayer, and on BBC Two from 12:30 p.m. on Sundays. And Britain in Bloom, did you catch any of the Britain in Bloom series at all?
Yeah, there were some absolutely gorgeous villages on that. I think it's such a great thing for the country, and to encourage other people as well to brighten up the area that they live in, and people work together as a team and as a community to try and win prizes for their villages. It was lovely.
It is absolutely right, and it does bring all sorts of people together, doesn't it? Really,
yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what your race or religion or whatever it is.
Exactly.
It's just that one aim, just to brighten up, make people smile a little bit, tidy up places, isn't it, that might have gone into a bit of disrepair or whatever. So that was a great little programme, and that was with Chris Bavin on BBC Two, a little early, 6:30. So I had to tape the thing because I'm not usually back from work until just after that. So, but again, I think you can probably catch all those up on the iPlayer again. So
absolutely,
if anybody's missed those, just check out Britain in Bloom, and that's with Chris Bavin. And as you said, Jake, some fantastic little villages and towns, and anybody can enter, can't they?
Absolutely, yeah. Anybody from across the country, and I think it's more the taking part, and like we said, the community working together that's the important part, more than the prizes.
It is. Yeah, and I'm lucky. Our village, where I live here, of Shevington, up in Lancashire, they put in for Northwest in Bloom. So I think that's part of the whole thing of Britain in Bloom, and they won gold last year, which
fabulous.
Was fantastic. And they're in the town category, so we're only a reasonable sized village. Really, but they're in the town category, and they won gold, and they were voted best in category for the region. as well. So that was great. Yeah, and
we sponsor a few to everybody.
Yeah, and we sponsor a few planters and stuff like that in the village.
Yeah, lovely
as well. So so your villages or the town where you live, Jake, do they take part in it at all?
Not that I'm aware of, but it's something I could certainly get the word out about. I've recently joined a Facebook group for residents of Codner Park, so it'd be a great way of brightening up the whole area.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, and you might be able to tap into a bit of funding or something like that and get a bit of help. So it might be worth mentioning that to the powers that be. And actually, something I meant to mention before, Jake, so I know you're on the committee, aren't you?
Yes.
Of your allotment group there.
Oh, yes, I am, yeah.
And actually, while we're talking about that, we spoke last time about slug pellets. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, yeah. It'd been a challenge for a while trying to get non-organic slug pellets banned from the site, but thankfully the government's done it for us.
Yeah. So this legislation that's coming in. So how did that go down with your group when you say, well, you're going to have to do it anyway? What was the reaction there?
Well, there was a few disgruntled murmurings, but I mentioned about organic slug pellets and. Which, as you say, can still affect the worm population. So I use them very sparingly, just around newly planted plants.
Yes.
But also, another member of the committee gets sacks full of used coffee grinds from a local coffee shop. And he says that is absolutely brilliant for stopping slugs and snails. Yeah. So that's something I'm going to try this year.
I've heard that, yeah. And they just chuck it away, don't they? These restaurants and whatever. So
absolutely.
It'd be a good little outlet and recycling yet again.
Definitely. It feeds the soil as well.
Yes. Now, I tell you what, for your next meeting, Jake, now don't tell your committee I come up with all these things to table at your meeting, but just see what they're going to do for Naked Gardening Day on the 4th of May. I meant to mention that before. Right, to say, is anybody up for doing something? Maybe one of those calendar shots, Jake, to raise some money.
Right. Raise some money for the site. That could scar certain people, that could.
I'll leave that thought with you.
I'll try to lose that thought.
Okay, so now, sorry, Jake, you were going to say then?
No, that's fine. I'd finished, yeah.
No problem. Now, it's the season, isn't it, for gardening shows coming up now?
Yes, definitely.
And so lots happening all around the country. Local village ones, the big ones are coming up as well. So we just have a little run through of some of the shows up and down the country. So I'll just start off with one that I found. That's the 3rd and the 4th of May. That's Toby's Garden Festival. And that's at Powderham Castle in Devon. And there's talks there by Francis Tophill. You know Francis from Lucky Garden.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and Gardener's World, of course.
Yes.
Joe Swift is going to be there as well. And Jim Buttress, who's a great...
Oh, yes.
I think after Jim McCall, I love Jim Buttress. And Jim, for those that don't know, is superintendent, or was superintendent, of the Royal Parks for 25 years, would you believe? And he does a lot of judging, doesn't he, in these shows?
Yeah, he judged that Allotment television challenge programme, didn't he?
Yeah. Did you see that? What did you think of that, Jake?
I thought it was interesting. I think the range of skills was probably a bit much for a lot of gardeners, but I thought it showed the things that you can do with the produce that you make, because they were making preserves and they were making sculptures out of flowers, a whole range of different crafts related to gardening. So it was really interesting.
It was, yeah, and it was. I don't know if people who are listening who will remember that, but it was a great. I think it was filmed down in Oxfordshire somewhere. A beautiful walled garden, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And there was, I don't know, let's say about 10 teams, wasn't there? 10 couples there, and different tasks to do and growing the veg. But then, as you said, making preserves. So that was part of it, wasn't it, as well? And flower displays and things like that. And I think anything like that, it just gives you a little bit of inspiration, doesn't it, to try things in your own garden that you perhaps wouldn't normally kind of do, really.
Definitely, yeah. And there's a lot more to gardening, a lot more different things you can grow and things you can do with the produce than what a lot of people think.
Absolutely. So that is the Toby Garden Festival down in Devon. And if you're interested in that, the website for that is www.tobygardenfest.co.uk. So what have you coming up with, Jake, in our little roundup of shows?
Well, it's not a show as such, but something related to what you said earlier is that not Naked Gardening, but National Gardening Week is coming up from April the 27th to the 5th of May. So that's an early one for this month. And
that raises a lot of money for charities, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, which is great.
Yes, yeah. And they're just private gardens, aren't they? A lot of them.
Yeah, it's a fabulous thing.
It is, yeah. And do you have is it the Yellow Guide I'm thinking of?
Oh, yeah, the Yellow Book. Yeah, it's and the ideas you can get just from visiting other gardens, it's inspiring.
It is, and they're just ordinary people, aren't they?
Yeah.
That go out there and work 9 to 5 or longer, just like we do, and they have these amazing, don't they, gardens, and very often, of course, there's tea and cake. Jake, what could be better?
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Sat in somebody's garden, looking at the flowers, having a nice carrot cake, in my case, and just watching the world go by, and plant sales as well, of course.
Absolute heaven.
And all the money going to some great local causes. So check all those out as well. And on the 9th to the 12th of May, now this is something I've always wanted to go to, and that's the RHS Malvern Spring Festival there.
Oh, I'd love to go there.
Yeah, and that's the 3-county showground in Malvern. Lots going on. It seems just a dead relaxed show to me. There's, of course, the show gardens there, the floral marquee, there's the art and the flower pavilions, there's a school garden challenge this year as well.
Excellent.
And speakers on there. Chris Beardshaw is at Malvern.
Superb.
This year. We've got Francis Tophill again, Joe Swift, Carol Klein is talking there, Monty. I think that's his local show, isn't it? I think for Monty.
Yeah.
I think he loves the Malvern show himself. Sarah Raven is there, that we don't see that often. And Joe Wiley as well.
Goodness me.
From Radio 2, of course. And Joe Wiley is a real avid gardener there.
Yeah, so, that's great, that.
And there is a lot of links, isn't there, from music to gardening?
Yeah. I'm just thinking again about Jim McCall there, who was who he still is, an excellent accordion player.
Of course. Yeah. And Jake, you're not hitting the subject here. We've got to say that you are a musician as well, with a great band out there.
I'm very, very lucky to work with the rest of the guys in my band, Kingfisher Blue. So a big shout out to everybody in the band. But also, you're a musician as well, Russ.
Well, from time to time, yes. Occasionally.
Very talented musician.
Not originals that I used to do. It's all covers these days. But I don't know what it is. But there's so many people with a link between gardening and music. And if anybody wants to know what the theme music is at the intro of our show, that of course is Jake's band. So that's where that music comes from there. Yeah,
it's a song of our 2016 album, Till the Pond Freezes Over, and the song itself is called Long Cold Winter. So maybe not appropriate, but I think it's great way you're starting the show. So thank you very much for that, Russ.
I don't know quite. I just like the tune, actually. But Long Cold Winter. Well, you have that, and then you've got the spring to look forward to, and all the planting ahead.
The words at the end of the song are very cheerful. In fact, we did have a question from Ursula in Cornwall asking what the music was. So I just remembered that off the top of my head. So thanks for that, Russ.
Ah, well, there you go. There you go, Ursula. It's Kingfisher Blue. There you go. And, right, another show that I found is the Devon County Show. That's the 16th to the 18th of May. That's at the Devon County Showground. That's West Point, Clist St Mary in Exeter. So that looks to be a good show. And I think you've got something on the National Flower Show. Is that right, Jake? The
National Flower Show, that's Chelmsford as well, isn't it? The 17th to 19th of May?
Correct.
That should be stunning.
That's it. And, of course, the big one then, shortly after that, it's the RHS Chelsea Flower Show. In London, of course, the world's most famous, amongst all others, the gardening show there. There's Show Gardens, there's the Artisan Gardens. They're my favourite. Oh,
me too. I love that crafty way of gardening. It reminds me a lot of Jeff Hamilton.
Yes, yeah. Oh, and I tell you, did you ever see Paradise Gardens?
Yes.
A series called Paradise Gardens. What an amazing series. Yeah. We'll have to talk again about that, because that was phenomenal. But yeah, he was great, wasn't he? A lovely, lovely chap. And left us too early, really.
Far too early.
Yeah. But those artisan gardens are just stunning, aren't they? And they're small. They're just the size of most people's back garden, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, but they're very clever.
Amazing what you can do, really.
Yeah.
And they got space to grow gardens there. The floral pavilion, and they're promoting health and well-being and the benefits of gardening as well.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure Rachel Detain, we were talking about earlier, she'll have a lot to say, as we mentioned before, about the benefits of health and gardening. And I think new this year is what they call the Discovery Zone at Chelsea. And that's all sorts of ideas and all the research that's going on in horticulture.
That sounds fascinating.
At the moment as well. And community-based projects as well. So that's the RHS Flower Show, 21st to the 25th of May. And I've got to say, I've never ever been to Chelsea. I don't know about yourself, Jake.
No, I've never got that down there myself, but one year I will do.
Yeah, I think you've got to go just to experience it. I'm not a great one for crowds, I must admit, really. And it does look rammed, I've got to say, doesn't it, from morning to...
It certainly does, yeah.
But I think one of these years, it's one of those things we've got to go to, really. Yeah. But around at the same time, all over London, is the Chelsea Fringe Show, and that runs from the 18th to the 26th of May, so just before and just after the Chelsea Flower Show itself. And, well, there's just so many things there that are on, and it's right across London, from community projects to pubs that adorn the front of their pubs with beautiful hanging baskets and all sorts of things there.
My kind of pub.
There you go. You can sit outside, Jake, all afternoon and just gaze at all the flowers there. And the best way to check out what's going on there is their website, and that's www.chelseafringe.com. That's chelseafringe.com. So have you got any other events there, Jake?
Just a couple of things. There's plant hunters fairs. If you Google them, they're happening all over the country. Two that I noticed that aren't far from where I am there's one at Donington Laheath Manor House in Leicestershire, 4th to the 10th. And on the 27th of May, Carsington Water near Ashbourne, which is a lovely spot anyway. And then last but not least, Gardening Scotland, 31st to the 2nd of June, which would be a fabulous event. I've always wanted to go there as well.
Yeah, I've always fancied going there, just for the reason that if you can grow up in Scotland where the weather's, let's face it, it's a little bit different to down here, isn't it, in
definitely.
and Derbyshire. And the season is a little bit short. I know there's some areas, isn't there, in the Gulf Stream, which are exceptional, aren't they?
Yeah, on the West Coast.
Yeah, but if you can grow things up there, you get some great ideas. You can grow them anywhere, can't you, really?
Absolutely, dead right.
And that is Gardening Scotland. That's 31st of May, am I right there?
Yeah, to the 2nd of June.
2nd of June, and that is that's the 20th anniversary this year.
Right, yeah, it's at the Royal Highland Centre in Edinburgh, one of my favourite cities.
Yeah, I love it. I love it there myself. And, of course, again, there's show gardens there, floral pavilion, botanical art, which I'm just getting into now as well. And loads more on there. So that's the Gardening Scotland, 31st to the 2nd of June. Now, I've just got a couple more here. It's the RHS Wisley Family Gardening Festival, and that's 25th of May through to the 2nd of June. That's at RHS Garden Wisley down in Surrey.
Lovely.
And 25th of May to the 2nd of June, it's National Children's Gardening Week. I don't know if you've come across this at all, Jake.
Yeah, I did notice that. I think we'll do quite a few things at work for that to get children more involved with the gardening.
It's just up your street, really. 25th of May to the 2nd of June. So that's National Children's Gardening Week. It's nationwide, and it's all about giving kids access to gardens, getting to grow things, etc. And the good thing about it supports a charity called Green Fingers, and they're a charity dedicated to providing gardens at children's hospices around the country as well. So
just on that, I know that Neil Grant, the person who started Green Fingers, he's also managing director of Ferndale Garden Centre near Sheffield. So a shout out to him for starting such a brilliant charity. Well done, Neil.
Absolutely. And Sheffield, don't tell me, Jake, you're from Sheffield.
A lovely city. I am biased.
There you go. Yeah, a great charity. So if you want to check that out again, because there's events up and down the country there, it's childrensgardeningweek.co.uk, childrensgardeningweek.co.uk, and they give you a list of everything that's up and coming, and also I think how you can get involved as well. And as we mentioned, Green Fingers charity that provides lovely gardens in children's hospices all around the country there. And one more I've got here, which is the Suffolk Show, and this really is an agricultural show that I'm a little bit partial to, I've got to say, and but it includes a flower and garden show within it as well, and it looks a real traditional kind of agricultural show. I know a lot of these shows, they're very commercial, aren't they, these days?
Yeah.
And but that comes with the territory. But the Suffolk Show looks like a real nice traditional show. That's 29th of May to the 30th of May. That's in Trinity Park, Felixstowe Road, Ipswich in Suffolk, of course. So that's our little roundup. Unless you've got any more there, Jake.
No, I think I'm done there.
Okay. Now, what I have to mention, actually, I heard of a little scheme up here in Lancashire. Now, I don't know whether they have these in other parts of the country or not, but it's for people affected by cancer. It's run by the NHS and Macmillan as well. And I just noticed this in a local article, I think, online up here. And so I sent them a message, and a lovely lady called Hannah McKernan, who is a Macmillan Service User Involvement Coordinator, she kind of helps organise this event up here in Blackpool. And she sent a lovely message back. She says, "Hi Russell, the group is created to be suitable for all ages. We have older people that come along, we have families that come with their children, as well as couples as well." And she goes on to say, "Research shows that gardening and being around plants is good for physical and mental well-being, and people affected by cancer can benefit as well. And it's all for people there to make friends, find support if they want it. There's no pressure there. They don't have to talk about anything if they don't want to. But there's always somebody there from Macmillan to give them a bit of support and to signpost them for those in need of support." And Hannah goes on to say, "Unfortunately, the numbers in each group are always low. So it would be great if we could raise some awareness of the group and to give it a boost." So, well, there you go, Hannah. I hope it's a great success. And as we said, that's a scheme run by NHS and Macmillan.
Yeah.
It's certainly the one that I found is up here. It's a place called The Grange at Bathurst Avenue in Blackpool. It runs from 6 till 8 p.m. in the evening. And on the 16th of May, they've got Make a Planter evening. So you go along there and you can make a nice planter. The 13th of June, they've got nursery work. The 18th of July, they've got hanging baskets. So maybe check out with your local Macmillan whether they're running schemes in your area. But I think that's a great idea.
It's absolutely brilliant. Macmillan is such a great charity. It's such a brilliant cause.
Oh, they are. Yes, and anything we can do to help raise money, we certainly will do for them and give them a shout out there. So thanks again, Hannah, for that. So just
thanks, Hannah.
A reminder, you're listening to Skywave Radio. This is Digging the Dirt, the Allotment Show with Russ and Jake. And I think it's time for some questions. So what do you have this month, Jake, for your questions?
Right. So I had a question in from Katie Anderton asking about growing herbs indoors.
Okay. So, that's getting popular. Yeah,
it certainly is. Like we were talking about earlier in the show, a lot of people don't have an outside growing space these days, especially if they live in cities. So it's a really important thing. What would you say about watering herbs indoors, Russ?
Well, I think you've got to be a bit careful that you don't overdo it.
Dead right.
Really. So just watch. I think when we at home we've got this habit of putting things in nice decorative pots that don't have the drainage holes.
Very good point.
And you've got to be a little bit careful there, haven't you? Otherwise, it'll just drown, won't it, and get waterlogged, and it won't survive. So I think the secret is get one of those decorative planters, but put your plant pot within it so it'll drain properly. So I think that's one little tip there. Plenty of light, I think I would say as well. So, what do you reckon?
Well, when I'm potting herbs up for indoors, I always make it a very gritty mix with at least 50% sand or grit with the compost. I certainly never feed them because most herbs are very, very tough, and they're from the Mediterranean, so. As you say, overwatering can be a real problem. So what I do is what I call the finger test. I put my finger into the compost up to the first knuckle, and if it's still dry there, then I'll give some water. But if not, I'll leave it, because the last thing you want to do is overwater.
Yeah. So treat them a bit mean.
Yeah.
You reckon?
Treat them mean, yeah, exactly.
Nice one.
Totally agree.
Yeah, that's good. And get them on your windowsill, nice sunny windowsill. Hopefully your kitchen is a nice sunny aspect to that, so you can just pick them as you need them.
Absolutely perfect having them in the kitchen, isn't it, for cooking?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I noticed one on your Facebook page.
Oh, yeah.
Jake, about the best location for a pond.
So best look, I'd say a sunny spot, not too close to trees, because you end up with loads of leaves in it.
Yeah, you can choke it a bit. Yep.
Certainly can. Plus shelter it so you don't get the UV to clear the water. But if you want it to be a wildlife pond, I'd certainly leave a bit of long grass or maybe a log pile nearby that wildlife can hide under. What do you think yourself, Russ?
Yeah, well, I haven't got a pond on the allotment. I've been thinking about doing that, but in saying that, I've been thinking about doing it for the last 5 years, really. and I should do, really, because it attracts wildlife, which would help, again, naturally keep the pest down a little bit on the site there with your frogs and your toads and the birds attracted, etc. But I've got 2 ponds at home. One just a small one, a wildlife pond. So that's sunk into the ground. And just like you said, actually, it's in my sort of little wildlife area of the back garden.
Perfect.
So I let the grass grow nice and long around it there. It is... I kind of put it in the wrong place, really, because it is pretty close to some trees at the back of the garden, so it's not ideal. So I do have to clean it out periodically of all the leaves, once they've fallen
I think everybody has to do that. With the size of gardens these days, not many people have got long meadow as a back garden.
No.
So you're going to get leaves going in, aren't you?
Yeah, and I've got a nice, what they call a patio pond that I saw actually at the BBC gardening show a couple of years. And I saw it and I thought, I've got to have one of those. So it was a bit expensive, but it looks great and all planted up. There's marsh marigolds in there at the moment, so they're
fabulous,
bright yellow, and it's great to look out on that, and that
Definitely.
even attracts the wildlife as well. Great things really. So
and I love the carp that I've got in my pond at home. Got about a dozen carp. They're gorgeous. Yeah,
well, that must be a pretty big pond then, or
it's not enormous, but it's a fair size.
And you notice it attracts the wildlife in as well?
It does, yeah.
Excellent.
And the fish leap up to grab the flies and the midges, etc.
Oh, do they? Wow, that's fantastic. Fantastic. So there you go. That's your location for a pond. Not too close to trees, a little bit of shade, not direct sunlight. And get yourself a wildlife pond there. And everything is going to benefit then, isn't it?
Definitely.
Right, I've got one last question. That's from Shirley from Bolton. Says, hi, Russ and Jake. I would like to get into this thing called no-dig gardening. I have an allotment. How and when should I start?
Straight away.
The
last executive decision that Big Jim McCall made before he retired was to make all the veg area at Beechgrove Garden no-dig. And I can't remember his name, the chap who's the head gardener at Scone Castle, who's also a presenter. He said that at Scone Castle, they've been no-dig for quite a long time now.
Really? Yeah.
So, and there's quite a few RHS and National Trust places that are completely no-dig. So going back to the question, as you know, I do mostly no-dig myself.
Yes, yeah.
So if she's looking to start, if the ground's already level and it's an allotment that she's been using for a while,
she could, yeah.
Yeah, she could just get on and do it. Like myself, I've just taken on another half a plot, and the ground is really hilly, as I said, so I've had to dig it to level it. But once it's level, it's fine. You just put your mulch on top instead of digging it in, which is good if you've got a bad back like me.
Yes.
And then you just plant with a trowel, and it's as easy as that. And I find that I get a lot less weeds as well.
Fine. And what sort of thickness then of mulch should you be putting on top of the natural layer there of soil?
If it's an area like last year, I picked some rough grass area, put cardboard on it, and then I put about 4 inches on top of the cardboard and sowed into that.
Okay.
But if it's a bed that's already clear and you've hoed the weeds off, an inch per year will be fine. Sow into the mulch, or just use a trowel to put your plants into the soil.
So just build it up gradually. Yeah. No need to rush things and get tons of manure or anything like that to compost to put on top. Just take it nice and steady and build it up over the years.
Dead right. So the same amount of mulch or compost or manure that you would use in traditional way of digging beds, just put that on the top and let the worms do the work for you. Brilliant. And it'll save you an awful lot of backache.
Excellent.
Another thing I do dig out is if there's some pernicious weeds in the ground, but otherwise I just smother them. Yeah. And did you say the lady was called Shirley?
Shirley, yes.
Right, so Shirley, if you go to www.charlesdowding.co.uk, he's a very famous no-dig gardener. He's been on Gardener's World, and he was on Beechgrove Garden as well.
Yeah.
So if you search that website, www.charlesdowding.co.uk, it will give you all the advice you need. It's so simple, it's unbelievable, and I'm not surprised more and more people are doing it. And also, if you go on YouTube, Charles Dowding has got lots of videos that show you how to make a no-dig bed in 5 minutes.
Oh, terrific. That's all you need to know, Shirley. Okay.
There you go, Shirley. Thank you.
There you go. Well, Jake, we have got 1 minute left. It's just flown by, really.
Absolutely, it's been brilliant, Russ.
So, very, very quickly, what have you got coming up over the next month now?
Right, planting out tender veg, obviously hardening off before.
Yes.
Carry on building up the compost, earthing up potatoes, sowing lots of other veg. What are you up to, Russ?
Well, I think that's it. I think one thing that the frosts aren't over yet, are we? We've probably got another 2 weeks, maybe. It depends, of course, where you are in the country.
Yeah, but, don't buy summer bedding and put it out now. It'll die.
No, you're going to lose it, aren't you? But maybe. I think perhaps after the middle of May, something like that, it's reasonably safe, isn't it? Any concerns?
Absolutely.
Cover over with fleece. That's my little trick there, really. So, I'll be hardening things off that come out of the greenhouse just to get them used to the outside temperatures, so don't get too much of a shock. So I tend to do that for a couple of weeks before I plant them proper.
Good advice.
But it's just planting out all the things I'm growing in the greenhouse at the moment, and the things coming out of the propagator. A bit of succession planting. Don't forget to do that as well.
Absolutely. And
then that'll keep your crops going. You want to have a glut of lettuce or whatever it may be, and then it's all over. So every 2 or 3 weeks, just
dead right.
Grow another session of lettuce. That's a good one to do, and just it'll keep you going all the way through the summer and into the autumn.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, thanks ever so much, Russ. That's been brilliant.
Well, that's gone a bit quick, hasn't it? So that's the end of another show. Thank you very much, Jake. Good to hear you.
And you, my friend.
And happy gardening for the month of May.
Yeah, and you. Happy gardening, everybody. And once again, a long and happy retirement to Jim McCall, gardening hero.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said. Now, our next show will be on Sunday, the 26th of May. So if you have any gardening questions, just send an email to skywaveradiouk@gmail.com. That's skywaveradiouk@gmail.com. Or you can send a message direct to Jake. So, give us your Facebook page, Jake, again.
It's Gardening Tips from the Village Idiot.
There you go. Okay, everybody, you have a great planting month during May, and we'll catch you on the 26th of May. Cheerio now.
Bye.
You've been listening to Dig in the Dirt, the Allotment Show with Russ and Jake on Skywave Radio.